3.6 million years ago, the ancient ancestors of humans began to stand upright and walk on two legs. Meanwhile, beneath the ocean, a sea monster quietly vanished from the evolutionary stage. It was Megalodon, the largest and most powerful predatory fish ever to appear on Earth. Recent estimates suggest that it may have reached more than 20 meters in length and weighed over 100 tons, twice as long as a bus. A pair of jaws large enough to crush a car and swallow several grown adults, which makes the idea of Megalodon still being alive in the modern world both fascinating and terrifying. If Megalodon still existed today, it would continue to dominate the oceans as the largest predatory shark on the planet. With razor-sharp teeth and incredibly powerful jaws, Megalodon would be capable of taking down the largest creatures in the sea, including whales, sharks, killer whales, dolphins, and seals. This could cause a significant decline in the populations of these animals and reshape the balance of the ocean food chain. The presence of Megalodon would also affect the behavior of other marine creatures, forcing them to adapt to a new predator. With no natural enemies and almost no competition, Megalodon would become the ultimate apex predator, sitting at the very top of the food chain. The ocean is an essential resource for humans. It provides food, transportation, and places for recreation. If Megalodon had never gone extinct, it would change the way we carry out activities in and around the water. The unchecked growth of large Megalodon populations could lead to a decline in fish catches for several valuable species that are important to humans, such as tuna, mackerel, and salmon. With its massive size, Megalodon could also destroy fishing nets and equipment, increasing the cost of offshore fishing trips. This would create serious economic impacts for fishing communities around the world. Fishing villages and fishing businesses would shrink in scale, leading to unemployment and a reduced supply of certain kinds of seafood. As a consequence, we might be forced to build larger fishing vessels to hunt Megalodon as an alternative food source. More importantly, Megalodon could become a major threat to people taking part in water activities. Its enormous size and predatory nature could lead to attacks on swimmers, surfers, or boaters. Even if humans were not its ideal prey, the number of attacks and casualties would rise quickly. Warnings would be issued to raise public awareness about the death lurking beneath the water. Recreational activities at sea would be more tightly controlled. Some activities, such as water skiing, jet skiing, or flyboarding, could be banned or organized only under strict limits. Coastal waters where Megalodon often appeared would have to be closed, heavily affecting the tourism industry in many local areas. Transportation would also be one of the industries affected by the presence of Megalodon beneath the surface. Small boats carrying people and goods to nearby islands could become targets for Megalodon attacks. The only people who might benefit from Megalodon's appearance in modern oceans, besides the owners of giant aquariums where Megalodon could be kept as a tourist attraction, and people who enjoy eating shark meat or using products made from shark cartilage, would probably be scientists. Megalodon researchers would have the chance to study this creature in its natural habitat, offering valuable insights into the behavior and evolution of this ancient monster. Overall, if Megalodon still existed today, it would have a major impact on human activity and on the entire ecosystem. And thankfully, Megalodon is completely extinct. That is the truth. Megalodon disappeared from the evolutionary chain, and scientific evidence confirms it. The last Megalodon sharks are believed to have lived around 3.6 million years ago, and there is no fossil evidence of them after that point. Although there have been some reports of unidentified giant creatures being seen in the oceans, there is no convincing evidence that these were ancient Megalodon sharks. To be fair, the ocean is unbelievably vast. More than 80% of Earth's seas and oceans have never been mapped, explored, or even seen by humans. And I believe you do have a point if you think Megalodon might still be alive. The thing is, if an animal as enormous as Megalodon were swimming around out there somewhere, we would probably know about it. They would leave unmistakable bite marks on other large marine animals. And their huge, fresh teeth would be found on the seafloor. And if they lived in warm waters near the coast, a creature the length of a fishing boat would be spotted regularly. We also have not found any Megalodon carcasses or skeletons up to now, which is pretty hard to make sense of, because anything that lives eventually has to die. right? One of the few things from Megalodon that we have ever found is its teeth. And we have found a lot of teeth. Unlike humans, who only grow teeth during the early years of life. Megalodon in particular, and sharks in general, continuously update their bite wear throughout their lives. On average, a shark replaces a set of teeth every 1 to 2 weeks. That means if Megalodon shared this evolutionary trait with its modern relatives, each individual Megalodon would have scattered up to 40,000 teeth across the seafloor, making the chance of those teeth becoming fossils and being discovered extremely high. Besides, teeth are the hardest part of a shark's skeleton, while the human skeleton is covered in a mineral layer called calcium phosphate, which makes our frame hard and strong. A shark's skeleton is made entirely of a softer material called cartilage, similar to the cartilage in our noses and ears. That is why sharks are called cartilaginous fish. Only in special cases, under the right conditions, can soft tissues like cartilage be preserved after tens of millions of years. Many people believe that Megalodon is not extinct, and that the reason humans have never found it is because it is hiding somewhere in the deepest parts of the ocean, such as the bottom of the Mariana Trench. However, anyone who understands Megalodon would not believe that. First, countless Megalodon tooth fossils that have been discovered show that Megalodon preferred warm coastal waters around the planet. The dots on the map you are seeing show the locations where Megalodon tooth fossils have been found. Yellow marks fossils from the Pliocene, while blue marks fossils from the Miocene. On top of that, a creature weighing anywhere from dozens of tons to over 100 tons would need to take in an enormous amount of calories. According to calculations, a 16-meter-long Megalodon weighing more than 60 tons would consume around 98,000 kilocalories every day. To make that easier to imagine, that is enough energy to feed an adult great white shark for more than 3 weeks, with an appetite equivalent to several wedding banquets. Paleontologists believe Megalodon's ideal prey would have been calorie-rich, fatty animals such as ancient whales, seals, and sea turtles, and it definitely would not find those things in the deep ocean or at the bottom of the Mariana Trench. In other words, Megalodon was simply too large to live and hunt on the ocean floor. In fact, Megalodon was so huge that when its giant triangular fossil teeth were found during the Renaissance, in the 15th and 16th centuries, people believed they were the fossilized tongues of dragons and snakes, and called them tongue stones, or glossopatry in ancient Greek. Because of this belief, many nobles and members of royal families wore these tongue stones as pendants or kept them in their pockets as lucky charms. Megalodon tooth fossils were also once used as an antidote for poisoning or snakebite. And there you go. Who says people in the West were never superstitious? It was not until 1611 that tongue stones were correctly understood by the Italian naturalist Fabio Collana, who recognized them as the teeth of ancient sharks. Then in 1667, the Danish naturalist Nicholas Steno created a famous illustration showing the head of a terrifying shark with teeth similar to what people had once called tongue stones. The name Megalodon itself also comes from ancient Greek, meaning large tooth. The teeth of this large tooth could reach up to 18 centimeters long, almost the length of an adult human hand, the largest among predatory sharks. You are seeing a fossil tooth of Megalodon, and next to it is the tooth of a great white shark. Megalodon's mouth contained more than 250 teeth in total, arranged across 5 rows. The jaws of the largest Megalodon individuals could measure 2 meters across and open at an angle of about 75 degrees. You are seeing fossil reconstruction expert Dr. Jeremy Clifford holding the jaws of a great white shark while standing inside the jaws of a Megalodon. In 2008, scientists conducted an experiment to determine the bite force of a 2.5-meter-long great white shark, then used that data to estimate the equivalent figure for Megalodon. The results showed that these prehistoric monsters could generate up to 182,000 newtons, or 18.56 tons of force, in a single bite. 18.56 tons of force pressed onto sharp tooth tips is more than enough to punch through the rib cage, pierce the heart and lungs, and ruin the day of basically any prey animal. This power was 10 times stronger than an XXL-sized great white shark and 25 times stronger than the armored fish Dunkleosteus. one of the most terrifying sea monsters of the Devonian. Supporting that terrifying bite force were serrations along the teeth, making it easier to slice through flesh and bone. Normally, sharks shake their heads from side to side when tearing into prey. This motion amplifies the bite force, making the prey's real-life experience even worse than the already horrifying calculations of scientists. With a body and physical strength far above almost everything else in the ocean, Megalodon's kitchen strategy was fairly simple. Megalodon bite marks on the ribs and other hard bones of a prehistoric whale fossil more than 7 meters long suggest that Megalodon may have targeted the heart and lungs. Its thick, sturdy teeth allowed it to bite through hard bone, even on large prey. With smaller prey, Megalodon would ram them from below with enough force to crack and break their bones before finishing them off with a tearing bite. Or it may have aimed for the head and delivered a single fatal bite. Researchers have also found a tooth belonging to an ancient mako shark around 4 meters long, bearing a bite mark that could only have been made by Megalodon. With a length nearly 4 times that of a great white shark and a weight dozens of times greater than the largest living predatory shark, Megalodon held absolute dominance in almost every one-on-one encounter. However, that does not mean it could not be taken down. Megalodon lived at the same time as Leviathan, a genus of highly predatory sperm whale. Leviathan could reach a maximum length of up to 17.5 meters. Its teeth measured up to 36.2 centimeters long, twice the length of Megalodon's already enormous teeth. If we do not count tusks, which are essentially giant teeth protruding from the mouths of elephants and several other animals, then Leviathan possessed the largest teeth in the animal kingdom. Like Megalodon, Leviathan was also an apex predator. It may have hunted medium-sized baleen whales measuring around 7 to 10 meters long. Leviathan certainly would not have enjoyed running into a fully grown Megalodon. However, in a fight to the death, the winner would not necessarily be the tyrant shark. Leviathan went extinct roughly 1.5 million years before Megalodon. But that does not mean the modern ocean would be a place where this super shark could let its guard down. Megalodon would win a one-on-one fight against almost any modern marine creature, except, perhaps, the sperm whale. The sperm whale is the largest toothed whale alive today, and also the largest toothed predator on the planet. A male sperm whale can reach 19 meters in length and weigh over 60 tons. It would absolutely be a heavyweight opponent for the sea monster Megalodon, in both the figurative and the very literal sense. In addition, deadly pods of killer whales often hunt in family groups of up to 40 individuals, with a maximum length of around 7 to 8 meters and a weight of 4 to 6 tons. These sea wolves could absolutely make a meal out of juvenile or old and weakened megalodons. With sophisticated hunting techniques, complex language behavior, and echolocation, large pods of killer whales would be something Megalodon would not want to mess with. In fact, competitive pressure from smaller predators was one of the causes that pushed Megalodon toward extinction. At the end of the Miocene, around 5 million years ago, Earth's climate changed significantly. Global temperatures and sea levels dropped, shrinking the range where Megalodon, a warm water shark, could live. Worse still, climate change killed off many large whale species, an important food source for a giant predator like Megalodon. The large whales that remained migrated toward the cold waters near the poles, putting them outside the hunting range of the tyrant shark. The prey that remained in warm waters were small and highly agile. They became meals that were simply too difficult for a large, heavy predator like Megalodon to catch. In addition, Megalodon may also have had to compete with several smaller predators, including ancient toothed whales, the ancestors of modern killer whales, and the great white shark itself, which began appearing around 5 million years ago. Megalodon was simply too massive to maintain its existence in an ocean where food supplies were declining and competition was increasing. To sum it all up, the Megalodon shark was a terrifying predator with rows of razor-sharp teeth that could easily tear through the flesh and bones of its prey. It was one of the most fascinating, frightening, and mysterious creatures ever to exist on our planet. Scientific evidence shows that Megalodon disappeared from Earth's oceans millions of years ago. However, The idea of a living megalodon continues to capture the imagination of people around the world. And after decades, it has lost none of its appeal. If it were still alive, Megalodon would certainly become a top predator, disrupting the balance of the ocean food chain, causing fish populations to decline, and creating economic damage for human fishing and tourism activities. What do you think about the scenario where Megalodon never went extinct? Remember to leave your thoughts so we can discuss it together. If you enjoy these what-if contents from WC, remember to subscribe to the channel and ring the bell to get notifications. And for now, goodbye, and see you again.